I'm getting pretty nervous about this bull run. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to show you a couple things on screen, and I want to talk about, where we currently are, what could potentially happen, and yeah, what we want to do with our portfolios. Again, I can't tell you what to do, but I can only tell you what I'm doing. So let's talk about where we currently are in the first section of this video and how far we've came with, Bitcoin and altcoins, etc. A lot of people are very pissed off with Bitcoin, and I get it, because you can't come into your Coinbase account, your Binance account, and buy a full Bitcoin anymore. But everybody that's saying that Bitcoin hasn't had a bull run, if you just look at this chart, it looks absolutely astronomical for, like, if your mom or dad or somebody that was in, cryptocurrency and they had a look at this kind of chart since 2013, the lows, they would say that Bitcoin has had a bull run. I'm sure we'd all agree. Like, we've almost doubled, or we pretty much 140K or 69K. We've came close to doubling the market cap of Bitcoin. And if we come and look at Ethereum, again, we haven't really reached its 2021 high. We pretty much skipped it, so it's kind of dead even. But again, buying Ethereum at under $900, it would have been somewhat of a good return. It's not a 10x return. XRP, again, if you took your mom or dad and looked at this chart at 50 or so cents, you would say, well, you've made money, right? The caveat as we go through these coins is a lot of people have been buying in recently in the last month or so. And yeah, I get it. Stressful, you kind of bought the local tops or some of the previous tops. BNB isn't a great example, but it's just been going up forever, right? I remember when this coin was $15 or so when I was using the Trust Swap app. And to see this coin at, 1.1K, it's pretty crazy in a short amount of time. Like, these are years and decades of times in the stock market in some of these coins. Solana was obviously a great coin in 2021. Got a lot of people rich, got a lot of people wrecked. You would say buying under $9, it's had a good bull run, right? It's done over a 20x this cycle so far. And as you come down the line, you get to be a little bit more speculative, and we can pull up meme coin 9,000 whatever and show you a million X return. But those are kind of different. So that's what I wanted to talk about first. We've came a long way with Bitcoin and most of our altcoins. Now, the caveat is you've got some coins like Avalanche, Cardano, for example, that haven't came close to their 2021 bull run. I still think they'll have their time of day, but I understand if you're an ADA holder and an ABAX holder, you're like, where the fuck's my returns? And again, this is just the luck of the draw sometimes. You get to decide what you want to invest in, you choose the horses, and sometimes so far they haven't paid off yet. The next thing is we need to talk about the invalidation of the 4-year cycle theory. This is a difficult one for me to kind of mention because I've preached about the 4-year cycle since 2023 and 2024. The end of the 4-year cycle, talking about the old halving for the Bitcoin bull run, I think it is eventually going to die. I don't think it's going to die this cycle, and it hasn't died so far this cycle. It would technically become invalid if we went into 2026 Q1 and Q2, like a lot of people are saying. And the reason I'm saying that is you've got so much more institutional adoption, okay, with Michael Saylor, etc., preaching this all the time. Bitcoin's price, I think, not this cycle, but eventually it will stabilize. And what I really mean by that is you're not going to be able to come into the game with Bitcoin. Remember in 2013, let's just pull that up on TradingView right now. If you remember, you probably do, you should do. You get pretty much every single 4 years, and this is what the 4-year cycle is if you're brand new, you get booms and busts, right? So again, you've seen the 2023 cycle, it was great. You obviously got a bear cycle. The 2017 cycle, it was great. You got the bear cycle, the 2018, 2021 cycle, it was great. You got a double top. You've technically had it this run. Okay, we've not had that blow off top that we expect for altcoins, but what I do suspect 27, 28, 29 is you might just see something a little bit more, normal. Okay, where pretty much you'll get, Bitcoin just kind of chilling it out, and it just won't look like massive runs and then, big drops, because the market cap is getting too high. So let's just say we started some run here, right? It might look something like a steady rise, a little drop, and a steady rise, a little drop, all the way down the line in a decade time to $1 million. And that's going to be tough for guys that are doing the 4-year cycle, even for me, right? Because if that was to happen, you have to ask your question. It's like you can't really sell to get profits. Sure, you can buy an altcoin, you might get lucky with a 10x, etc., etc. But the problem with that, with the end of the 4-year cycle potentially happening, not that it's happened right now, but if it does happen down the line, which it probably will, when do you sell? When do you realize the money? When do you cash out and buy the better lifestyle? Because you can't. If you think about it, you can't cash out, because the way you cash out, okay, you get to realize some money, but if it's just going to go up over the long term with little dips, you're always going to buy back in higher, which the best strategy then would be to hold Bitcoin long term. So that's a big problem that we need to talk about after this cycle, because you can't spend the money. Sure, you can put it on lending platforms, use DeFi liquidity pools like we're doing, that's in our game, and you should really, in my opinion, start to do that. But the hodl strategy is becoming less and less useful. And I'm not even going to talk about trading because 99% of people shouldn't be trading, let alone leverage trading, because most people, even me, I don't know what I'm fucking doing. I don't know when it's going higher, when it's going lower. My whole game was to play the 4-year cycle, this bull run, get out. But if that eventually gets invalid, it's like, how can I get back in and get out if it's just going to go up forever? So something important that it's going to be tough. It's going to be super, super tough. The next thing is about your portfolios. I'll show you my portfolio in a second. Small caps are bleeding so bad right now. Blue chips less so. So again, my current portfolio, if I just refresh this, we are at 1.09, so $1.1 million, which is great. But again, the problem is, when do we sell? When do we buy? You can see here, Bitcoin's been my biggest return, which is funny that a lot of people say that don't buy Bitcoin. Again, you probably didn't get an average price of 23 if you bought in last month, last 6 months, whatever. But Bitcoin, I'm not afraid to say this, has been my biggest return. Did I miss some altcoins? Absolutely. Did most altcoins beat, 363%? Absolutely. But I came with the most money here, right? Ethereum, number 2 asset, has been my second biggest return. HBAR flipped this a while ago. I was up about $270,000 when HBAR went to like 40 cents or so. Obviously, it's came back down to like 19, 20 cents at the current time of recording. I do believe HBAR will beat Ethereum this bull run in terms of gains, but that's just the current reality. Solana is about up at $30,000. QNT, it's actually down. Biggest stable coin in my life right now. Brett's up $5,000, although I made like $48,000 in a liquidity pool, so that hasn't been included in this one. XRP's up $7,000, but as we start to come down the line, the more riskier shit is down massively. Illumium down $10,000. What happened to that coin? I don't know if it's going to come back. I just hold it here just to see whatever, because I'm not going to sell at $10,000 loss. I'd like to go back on that and take that money that I've lost in that. It's down 87% and just buy Bitcoin. But I decided to ride that one because I thought there was going to be a gaming bull run, and there might still well be, but so far, not good. What I want to talk about is there's a guy in our group, he's called Bobby, and he is stressing that there's going to be a wave down to $90,000 to $94,000 and then the fourth kind of run up. So basically in our community here, this is what he said. Liquidation, clear sweep. He told everyone to short BTC in advance $116,000, and he did do that. And again, I didn't do this because again, I'm just a hodler and DeFi guy. I don't like to do leverage trades just in case it's wrong and then I have to buy back higher, and I get so mad at Bobby, but that's what he did, and so far it's been paying well. It's going exactly as planned, as he expected, but to the point in this post, he is still expecting the fourth run to the upside, which will be the final one. So he is very much shorting the market right now, and it's been working absolutely amazing. But again, guys like me, I just can't stomach that. I just cannot do it. But basically, if you look here, you can see down at this level here, the 90 to 94K levels, there's a lot of liquidations going to happen. And basically what he's saying on a nutshell, if we go back to TradingView, is once Bitcoin kind of hits that 94K levels, whatever, he thinks there's going to be a final wave up, and then all the altcoins should go as planned. That could happen. All I'm saying is Bobby hasn't been wrong. He's called basically 3 major tops. This one, and this one. And he's not been wrong so far. And basically he's double bought, and he's also made money on the way down. And again, that's not to tell you that Bobby's a genius. I'm just saying that, if I thought Bobby was a genius, I'd be like, let me just sell some trading product and sell it to you guys. But I'm not doing that because I don't know. I just can't do trading, and nor do I want to sell trading community, because I don't want to be a fake guru and just say that I'm a trader when I'm not. But we do have guys like Bobby that, help our guys in our community that is a trader. But for most of us, we don't like to do that just because we can't stomach the pain. But to sum up that last point there is, if we do get that, what gives me a little bit of confidence, yes, I'll have to hold this all the way back down to like 90, 94K levels, but I do have liquidity pools, so I'll be able to buy a lot of my coins at this level, because you can bet your little ass that Ethereum's going to get wrecked, Solana's going to get wrecked, Sui's going to get wrecked, XRP's going to get wrecked, HBAR's going to get wrecked. All of these coins are going to go down 30, 40, 50%. That's not to scare you, to say sell and buy back lower. I don't want you to do that. Again, I'm not doing that. Again, you get to press the buy buttons and the sell buttons. We can't press them for you, but that's what he's expecting. And if that does happen, he's going to make a fuck ton of money, and we're going to have to stomach the pain, but ultimately he just thinks there will be a final 4 phase. So again, it's a difficult video to talk about because I am nervous about this bull run. I'm super, super nervous. If you look at the rainbow chart, the Bitcoin rainbow chart, we haven't came close to, FOMO, seriously sell, etc. We haven't came close to any of these levels. We've came to the hodl. Is this a bubble territory? Barely, but we haven't came close to what we know in 2013, 2017, 2021. We've all pretty much hit the maximum bubble territory. And if you followed this, it was great. But stuff like this could be invalid, because we haven't came closer. Now, if Bobby's theory is right, we will touch this, but after that, I don't know. it might be the case of the hodl investor doesn't make any money anymore, because the only way a hodl investor makes money if you buy and get back in, because then you eventually can only do it one time, because all these altcoins are going to go up forever. It's tough. And I am nervous if this cycle gets invalid. Don't think it's going to do. I'm believing in Bobby, but what if it does? That would chuck a spanner in the works, as people like to say. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. What you think is the future of cryptocurrency? Do you think Bitcoin's just going to continuously go up forever, get little pullbacks, but just keep going? That could be an option. And it's a scary option for us, because we can't sell and we can't take our profits out and we can't time the cycles anymore. And then we can only really cash out one time and then, you know, get money in the real world. But how do we actually get ahead with inflation, etc.? You're still going to be having to work your job if you don't make enough. So it's difficult. I'd love to know your thoughts. Like I said, drop them in the comments below. It's a difficult one. Peace and take care.